put it on the mic. Hello and welcome to SGDC! With your yodeling host, Jay, that's me. Hello people. So, this is the weekly show where we show our stuff that people in the house have been working on. And we're gonna start with the lady of indie, the queen of the jacuzzi. Please give it up for Leene!
That's my favorite intro, I guess. I hope that's never.
Very happy to be here.
Yes. So, I went to GDC and I'm gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna show anything else. So, this we got GDC at home. It's this that we're at. But yeah, I went to GDC in San Francisco. Why did I do that? So I got a free all access ticket from a thing that I applied to. I also wanted to network and find other indies to work with. Meet more game devs, like I don't live together with a lot of them already. And then see the state of the industry all over, and then get some wish list and share a lot of shiny stickers. So yeah, this is me there, and yeah, it's one.
You can't see the thing on stream, I just realized.
Oh?
It's black on the screen.
Oh? I don't know.
See if I fucked it up. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
Presentation.
This one.
Yes.
There we go. Alright. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so why GDC is good and why not? So you can meet a lot of awesome people and just chill around, so it's very nice to do that actually. I got a lot of very good connections there. Go to inspiring talks, go to very unique events that are outside of GDC as well, and enjoy the sun hopefully. It was very nice weather, so I was very happy about that. Sitting on the grass, lovely. It's very expensive though. If I didn't get the all access ticket, I wouldn't gone there. Actually, it's also a really dangerous environment around the city. A few blocks away, there's like a slum. Basically, it's quite like dangerous. So, yeah. And also, there's a lot of business-minded people. Not that bad this year actually. I was like, it's my second time there actually. And yeah, I have learned some things, who to talk to more and what events to go to. So yeah, you can ask me about that. It can get very overwhelming. It's the biggest game developer conference in the world. So yeah, there's so many people in there. So make your plans ahead. It's good to know where you want to go before, otherwise you'll be like, I don't know what to do, and there's so much information. Also find an extrovert to help you if you are not one. So I tagged along with some people who were like, hey, could you like help me, because I do not like going to random people and saying hello, kind of, and start talking. But if I do already talk, I'm all good. So yeah, that helps a lot. And also make sure which areas on the map are dangerous and where you can walk and where not. And get merch or business cards with you, because people will not remember otherwise. I mean, you can also have like QR codes as well, but it's a bit of a hassle. A lot of fun talks in there. Neopets talk. Neopets is back. I'm very happy about it. Also, was a very funny talk about crafting love interests. The question, whom of these is a love interest? The answer is all of them. You can date them in video games. Yeah, and this is how it looks like. It can be different things. Talks, talk about, for example, neurodiversity in video games. Then we have the expo halls that are full of a lot of stuff. Then the evening parties that might be fun, but also there might be dangerous. And then there's like very indie awesome parties outdoors or in different parks with a lot of indie developers there. This one was an open talk for everybody. Currently, it's kind of gloomy. A lot of like devs are quite ready to give up because 25% of people have been let go from big teams. Big companies were over hiring and now letting everybody go. Everybody's looking for a job right now. So the mood is quite low for a lot of indies because it's hard to find investors and publishers as well. And there's a lot of calls for, but the good thing, yeah, is that there's a lot of calls for change, unionizing, and helping diversity. And people have been like really vocal and out, like speaking about all of this, which is amazing. I'm very happy that people are not quietly just enduring this. Some people, there's like Sasha. There's Logan. Also met Megan in there. Didn't get a picture. It was very hectic. But yeah, some homies as well. It was nice. And I got a lot of dessert business cards. There's like 40 of them. I did manage to write to everybody. So let's see what happens with that. So that's nice. I met like some cool people, like a guy from Vampire Survivors, or there was an artist from Dwarf Fortress, and other cool games, similar games to our games as well, some of them. So that was super nice. Right on time. Yes. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, James.
What would be your one takeaway or thing that you're going to remember forever from this trip?
I guess the way that I was able to socialize with everybody and feel very comfortable. I have never been comfortable on like big events like this, but I was able to get into the right like parties and places and kind of team up with, tag along with people. So I felt quite good because of that. It was really good, and I really loved that. So, I guess, yeah.
Your favorite talk?
My favorite talk. I mean, I really wanted that Neopets talk. There was a talk from Darkest Dungeon makers who. Also were going through the thing where they're adding people to the team slowly, and it was funny because I was just ranting to somebody how I'm like a bit overworked and it's all hard, and I feel like we are in a boiling frog kind of situation a tiny bit with adding people to the team, and then it's same things exactly what the Darkest Dungeon people were talking. Firstly, takeaways are the same and their experience. So it was super nice to see a team that is going through exactly the same thing. I wish I had seen that talk before and learned like what they went through and how they found it very hard to like give tasks away, for example, to other people, and or reorganize when you're in the middle of a project and you're adding people, because it depends how it should be set up, but you're at the anyways. I will also, because I have the access to the vault for the year now. When they add the talks up, then I can make events in the house as well where we watch some talks, because I didn't go to all the talks. I mostly spent time like with people, because that's something you cannot do not live. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We have to keep it cool.
Thank you, Leene. Up next, we'll hear about Graphical chat app progress by Natasha. Please give it up for Natasha.
Hi. I made a lot of progress on my app in 1 week. Let's see. There's a bunch of stuff that I finished that I'm like really proud of. So first of all, it is live, so you can't actually log into it, but it's invite only, so seems like it's not working in this browser. Well, you can log into it though. So that was that part.
Is it Chrome?
It might be Chrome. I was only
Chrome and
testing
test
in
it there if you want.
Firefox.
Yeah, open it in Chrome.
There's Chrome installed.
Okay. No, I was testing in Firefox. Anyways, well, yeah, I also did like manage to create a password reset system for it, and you can also actually like you can actually just like see everything right here because it is actually public. So, well, it's kind of huge, but yeah, it's all right there, which is cool. Another interesting kind of like fact is that you can also access it right on my computer because it's running right now, which is kind of funny. Let's see. There were some kind of like difficult things though, because a lot of the steps that I wrote down in my calendar took like 5 days longer than I planned them to take, so I've had to like kind of massively scope down what I wanted to make, because we've got about like 5 days left to be in this kind of hyper production mode. So I was thinking I might be able to actually get a chat room on it in that time. That might be like what I want to prioritize next. Yes. It's got an interesting setup because it has 2 development environments, because it has a 3D environment that requires this type of server to run, but then when it actually goes up on the website, it requires this type of server to run. So this program here has to like turn this JavaScript file into a built version of it, which is then actually used in the actual website. So it's like I have to like make the 3D part first separately and then kind of like build the data functions on top of it. So it's an interesting workflow. It's been kind of fun figuring it out. Yeah. Ooh. End it there for now. Maybe some questions if anyone. Oh, and also if you want to try it out, just ask me for an invite and DM me your email. Yeah.
I didn't see a previous talk. Maybe you did about this. What is the website going to be?
Oh, okay. So right. The concept is it's kind of like a social hangout, chatting app with a kind of 3D cartoon style graphics. So each user has like an avatar and a little area that they can customize, and they can invite their friends to their little area to hang out and chat and stuff.
All right. Thank you.
Alright, up next. Do you like monsters? Because we have a monster creation tool. It was made by Florian and he's going to show it to us. Give it up for Florian.
So I've been working on the game Satan Stole My Girlfriend on a tool to add monster.
1 second. Do you have a video in this?
I will not show the video.
Okay.
It's just a backup. Yeah. So yeah, I've been working on a tool to add monster into the game. Previously, I had this type of node graph that worked in Unity, so it benefits the feature like everything from the Unity editor. So it's really easy to customize and it looks pretty nice. But it only works inside of Unity, so we can't use it at runtime inside of the video game, for example. So I made another node-based tool, but this time with Unity UI, and it doesn't look as fancy, but it's still really usable. And I'll show a little demo creating this monster in the tool. So it has like these three spreadsheets, one for work, one for explode when it touches the player, and an explosion when it finally like explode. So that was the backup, and I opened the tool. I already made a graph for the explosion. We can preview it. There we go. And for the actual monster, I already placed some nodes to save some time. There is 2 animation nodes, one for the walk animation, one for explode, one body part. And I start with an event on start. On start, the monster will patrol, which is a node to make the monster walk back and forth. Also, at start, it will play the animation for the walk that will loop. I will give it a name. I don't use this type of keyboard. There we go. And when it touches the player, first I will cancel the patrol. So that it stops moving when it starts the explosion animation. And once the animation is done, I want it to spawn a new monster. So everything like projectiles, particles, they are all considered monsters because it's easier to manage. And its name is explosion. Finally, when the explosion is done, I destroy the object, and it should be good. So let's test. And yeah, there we go. Oh, there's a problem. And I don't know where it comes from.
The node in the middle there is unconnected.
Which one?
Spawn monster wall.
Spawn monster. The other one.
This one.
Oh, it's not. I actually don't know. I never had this problem before. Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. And yeah, we can go back to the editor and, for example, change the speed, and it should work. It works as intended. Any question? Yeah.
Yeah, so you said you made it in Unity UI. Did you use the old Unity UI system or the new one, the UI toolkit?
It's like I don't know if there is a. I use just the UI like in Canvas UI,
Oh yeah.
the basic stuff. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Florian. Up next, Matej was playing with balls. More pinball by Matej. Give it up for Matej.
Pinball. Alright, yeah, hello, I'm Matej. I'm working on a game called Pixel Art Academy, where you will be drawing different pixel art stuff. Right now I'm working, that's what I showed last time, I'm working on a pinball game where you will be able to draw a playfield and then it automatically creates it into a playable pinball game. So this is all drawn just like pixel art. Now I have, now I have a bit more stuff on the field. I've created a little bit more complex thing, and basically just an update, small little, all the new stuff that's done. Especially on the editor side, there's a bunch of stuff that you can, well, now you can drag and drop like last time you couldn't. You can rotate stuff. Well, this one looks ugly when you rotate it. You can flip things around because when you have flippers, you want to flip them. You can go into settings, change the speed that it rotates and stuff like that. This ball here, for example, is a captive ball that you can just hit, but it won't require to be out of field for the thing to restart. Yeah, so that's kind of. One more thing is whenever there's these small lines. Last time I had to have these things here. When it detects thin lines, it just creates them. It creates them as little tiny wires, which can be better seen if I go into a 3D view on the debug. So yeah, my debug view now is. Let's turn off for the moment, turn off CRT emulation. So yeah, that's how the 3D debug. That's basically the physics world that the game sees. So yeah, those are those wires, and yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. There's a bunch of new parts. Oops. There's a bunch of new parts that I still want to do. I tried to add a spinning target, but it didn't really. Let's go to 2D view. There you go. That's better. So there will be a bunch of new parts. I'll see how much stuff I can add in till the end of the month. But yeah, that's kind of where it is. It's fun to once you figure out. There you go. Hit the ball. It's a little bit unruly. It's kind of like very old school pinball when the physics engines weren't like I'm not simulating, for example, rubbers yet. So it's a little bit of a, it's just rigid bodies. So you can't really aim as good as you would on a real pinball table when you can stop the ball and then make it go exactly where you want it to. So I don't know if I'll have time, but yeah. So back in the days, games also were kind of shitty. So if it's at least as good as 1985, then I'm fine with it. But yeah, there's gonna be next time I can show all of the parts, and that's it, kind of. If you have any questions, I can answer them while I play. Hello, James.
Are you gonna have colors and stuff later?
No. There's a good reason why I want to go with the original Macintosh is exactly because it's just black and white. I feel like there will be missions that have color, but there is from an educational standpoint. There is some merit to just start with black and white, so you don't have to worry about colors. So yeah, there will be a bunch of missions just on the Macintosh where you just create stuff black and white. But then later on, for example, when you get to the sort of Amiga timeline, you will be able to get you will even be able to make a port of your own game. Then you basically take all of this art You get it into an Amiga system, and then you just add colors to it. Hello, yes, Chris.
So that's the Pixel Tosh. What's the Amiga gonna be called?
It's Pixel Friend. Somebody else? Did I miss? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matej. Alright, up next, Medium Chris and Niels say hello, and they also do a short game Präsi, which is very German for presentation. Get up for Chris and Neil.
This is so neat.
Jo, grüß euch. As we would say in German or Austrian. It's like hello there.
Yeah, we brought you some Austrian things here with us. We brought you a proper schnitzel. That's how it's supposed to look like in Austria. And it's the only thing we eat lingonberry jam with. So we have that as well. We have some Mozartkugeln, Mozart's balls. I have some with me here as well. If anyone wants to try gobbling Mozart's balls, let me know. I have some. And the specific region we're from is very famous for pumpkin seed oil on the left. We usually just call it kernöl because everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Scroll down.
I have to scroll down?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So about me, important stuff, height, 1.70 centimeters. Just for the next quiz when he's coming, we can scale his name about that. I'm normally a software engineer, a backend C# developer for 10 years now. And my favorite games are Graphic 2. It's from Piranha Bytes and Hades. And my two favorite animes at the moment are Vinland Saga and Frieren. Yeah, that's about me.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna take over the talk now. Chris is done talking. Yeah, so I'm Neil. I'm a programmer. I'm a generalist programmer. I, at the moment, mostly do web development, but I've worked a lot with C# before, and I'm using pretty much every technology under the sun. And for making games, I mostly use Unity. It's also what we use for a current project. A bit more about that later. So, about my favorite games. Here's just 3. There were too many to pick, but I really love Slay the Spire. Final Fantasy IX was the first game I think I've ever played or watched my brother play, and I love Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and I've even attempted no-hit runs of the game, and I've beaten the entire game from start to finish, getting hit once. Never managed the 0 hits, sadly. It'll come around eventually. Then also some anime that I like. I love Sword of the Stranger, it's an awesome movie, Eden of the East, and Attack on Titan, which probably everybody knows. And I also really love books, mostly read fantasy, like Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere or Andrew Rowe's Arcane Ascension books, or also Patrick Rothfuss' The Name of the Wind, just general fantasy and especially progression fantasy. Yeah, that's pretty much about me. And now I'm going to tell you a bit about Stay Dead, which is the working title of the game we're working on in Unity. And I also have a bit of gameplay to show you. If I ever manage to get out of full screen mode again. So,
Is this the right one?
Yes. So, this is how our game looks at the moment. It's kind of like a top-down hack-and-slash game inspired by Hades, Fury, and some others, where you fight through waves of enemies and clear each room, and after each room you're gonna get a reward and a challenge to pick for the next room, and you progress through the game, and it's gonna be a roguelite most likely. So you do a run, you fight some enemies, fight some bosses, and eventually die, and probably get some upgrades. And yeah, we're still kind of experimenting a lot with movement, with enemies, with systems, but we really like this kind of feel of a bit dark and having the lantern on your back, and probably, oh, there he goes. Yeah, probably gonna do something more with like lighting and the lantern mechanic, and we're not quite sure where it's gonna lead us precisely yet. We just mostly worked on enemies and the movement so far and the general style. However, we'll do playtesting tomorrow, so if you want to try it out, please attend. And yeah, then you can try it for yourself. And that's pretty much it for us. Are there any questions? Yes, please.
When and where are you going to play test?
It's playtest Friday tomorrow, if I'm not, if I'm correct.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the dining hall is where we'll meet.
Yep. Oh, yeah, they're back.
How long are you guys staying here?
Well, Chris is gonna stay for another
2 to 3 months.
No,
weeks.
weeks.
Weeks, sorry.
2 to 3 weeks, and I'll be
Would
staying
love
here
to.
till the end of July. Oh, I think you were first.
So any thoughts on like the story or setting of the game?
We had a lot of thoughts and went in a lot of different directions. Stay Dead originally came from the idea that you're playing some sort of watcher over the dead, and something started resurrecting the dead, and now you have to find out why that is happening and return them to their resting place. That was the original story, but as we're evolving, we probably still change it. But that was the general first idea.
Is it just the 2 of you working on it, or is anybody else?
Yeah, it's at the moment just the 2 of us. So I'm just a programmer, and Chris also does programming, but also some art. And I'm trying to learn VFX because we don't have anybody that does it. But the models are mostly Chris's job.
Yes, and for the UI, we probably have some friends who can help us out.
Are there any like key design differences that separate this game from like Hades?
We had some ideas for additional mechanics that we wanted to do, that we wanted to prototype, but they are not quite there yet. So far we've done the basic attacks and the basic movement, but we want to probably wrap additional skills with different mechanics on top. We've been considering something very similar to Helldivers, deploying, what are they called? The skills in Helldivers, pretty much, where you... Stratagems, where you kind of slow down the game and have to input a sequence of buttons to cast spells, for example. But that's really early in the prototyping right now. And since the last 2 weeks our game has kind of sped up more and more, we're not entirely sure if that will still fit or if we'll substitute it with different mechanics. All right, I think that's... Oh. Yeah. I think you're done. Thank you.
It's the reverse Hades. In Hades, you tried to escape them.
Yeah,
In your
exactly.
game, you tried to get the others.
Yeah, we take Saggers and we put them back. Oh, that would be fun.
Onto the game.
I didn't think I would be offered gobbling balls on stream, yet here we are. Alright, up next we'll hear about CORR. Give it up for Dani!
In the 4-hour presentation of Jurassic Park.
Of Jurassic Park?
I
Yeah.
found out about that today, and I want to see it again.
Alright, slideshow. Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna talk about what I've been doing the last week, but James asked me to introduce you all to CORR because not everyone knows what Miguel and I are working on. So this is gonna be that. And yeah, last time we did with Jurassic Park a metaphor for the work we were doing with metaphors. So I mean, this time I'm gonna do it with the Lost World. No, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. All right. So here's a trailer. Yeah. Oh wait. Maybe we should never actually. There we go. Nope. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the team is Miguel and me. Yeah. So what the game? Okay. So these lights are all over the place. I don't care. So yeah, the game is like it's a game all about challenge. It's about bus rush. Like it's a bunch of buses. It's lots of buses, yeah, and it's kind of weird as well. So if that's the sort of stuff that you like on a pizza, that's go wishlist CORR, because that's what you're gonna get. For the more to speak more like gamer language, it's imagine Titan Souls, Fury, and Dark Souls had a threesome. They would get CORR, probably, something like that. Very nice. Oh yeah, so these are some of the bosses that you can encounter. Just some designs for them, or some art design. Yeah. There will also be like some NPCs and some upgrades that you can do throughout the game. I'm not gonna go too much into that. As for the lore, it's going to be very like Souls-like, so you're gonna have to like go into item descriptions and like try to figure out what the fuck is going on. Yeah. Do I have more slides? I don't know. Oh yeah. It's gonna be weird. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it. Questions?
Why do you make a, I don't know how long it was, hour-long presentation about the movie but not about your game?
What?
I wasn't here to witness it. I wish I was.
Why I was doing the Jurassic Park talk. Okay, yeah. So that's because like we wanted to do like a lot of like metaphor work, like telling a story with metaphors as well. Yeah, so there's like a lot of metaphors in Jurassic Park, and so we were sort of making like a parallel of like this is how they did it with Jurassic Park, and like so people could like imagine without spoiling our stuff, right? Yeah. So that was the idea. Yeah.
So what's next? What are you gonna add?
Yeah, okay, so we were working towards making a demo, and it's been taking us quite some time because we want to get this right the moment that we put it out, because some of like the greatest marketing beats like are some very specific YouTubers, and so we need to like make sure that the demo like delivers on all front for like what they consider is a great Souls-like experience, because it's very much that sort of thing that it taps into, and especially like with the lore stuff. So yeah, we're working on the demo. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a bunch of stuff with that. Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the art style?
What do you want to hear about the art
I
style?
like it, so
Oh,
talk
okay.
about it.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. We draw. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you draw?
We arms, hands. Yeah. Yeah.
Does inspiration for your art style come from anything like binding a bicycle or like?
I mean,
other thing?
I don't think there were like any particular inspiration for the art style. I think like when doing a lot of game jams, like this sort of a thing was just like very easy to produce quite a bit, like fast. But I have been playing a lot of Binding of Isaac, so I mean, I would not be surprised if like subconsciously I've been drawing from that quite a bit. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dani. Up next, we got a progress update, part 2, Electric Boogaloo by Lil Chris. Give it up for Lil Chris.
Hello, everyone. So what I have for you today is sort of slapdash presentation about what I've been doing lately, and it will begin shortly. Let's see. All right. So just to get you up to speed, we have our little studio. It's called Act None. It was founded in Malmö like 5 or 6 years ago. We're 2 people. We got some freelancers working with us. Those are the games we have released, and they're basically text adventure RPGs on mobile devices. Yeah. So this is the game we're working on. So, like, yeah, just a quick rundown. Like, it's a new story, new protagonist, sort of a blank slate this time. There's just some stuff that has happened in the past, but you can sort of project your own idea of the character. And it's loosely connected to previous games because we have recurring factions and characters that some people would recognize, but people should be able to, like new players should be able to experience this separately without having played the previous ones. So it's a new area in the same world. This is sort of a desert setting. So you can see the picture there. There's like a view from below where you're sort of down in the canyon, and like people live in the sort of shadow of an ancient city, and they live like in caves and ruins and stuff. And there's arena combat, which is pretty cool as well. So I'm working on the main quest. I have, since last week, I finished chapter 5, just started on chapter 6, and there will be 9 chapters in total. Now that may sound like a lot, but 2 of them are quite short, so the 2 of the remaining ones. So it's manageable in terms of scope. So yeah, chapter 6 is what I'm working on now. It has like 4 steps, broadly speaking, and like just to give you an idea of how I work, I have everything planned out. So it's not like I haven't written the story, it's just that I have it sort of in broad strokes, like in bullet points. So I'm sort of just figuring out how to make it work and sometimes expanding upon it and stuff. So anyway, in this quest I had a lot of fun making sort of a kidnapping investigation type scenario where you have this little object that sort of is a clue about who is responsible for the kidnapping, and I made it so that you can show this object to every single NPC in the game, and that was pretty fun because for some of them I even forgot about. So now you can even like talk to the most insignificant dude who lives like in a cave, who like just tells you that it looks like a piece of garbage and you should throw it in the river, basically. So it was fun writing all these characters and having them give their opinions about whatever this strange object is that you're showing them. The neat thing about this quest design is that there are 3 different characters that actually can point you in the right direction. So it's kind of non-linear like that. But yeah. So anyway, so I have these 3 things. Like basically, the big dungeon is the thing that's gonna take a lot of time. That's where the hostage is basically. And then you have the final choice when you've rescued him, where he basically asks you to set him free because he was already a prisoner when he got kidnapped. It's just like different factions wanting to use him for different purposes. Yeah, because he has knowledge and stuff. So I'm trying not to spoil too much, but the idea is that you then get to choose whether you let him go free or if you bring him back to the people who held him prisoner in the first, from the get-go, I mean. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. I'm gonna try to keep doing these presentations every week. So yeah, let's not jinx it, but yeah. Any questions? Jay.
So you said there's like an investigation thing. I imagine it to be difficult to balance not giving too much hints to the player, but also not too little that they can't figure it out. How did you like balance that?
Well, to be honest, I went from being a very like evil designer in the past, where I was like, oh hell, let's make it as difficult as possible, to now I'm kind of like, you actually get very, because basically the object that you have is sort of has to do with religion basically. So he basically hints at the fact that some people might know about it. So like the druids and the priests, and there are a few of those. So you can, if you actually read the dialogue, you get a hint. Yeah. Max?
Yeah, you said you like to plan your story in broad strokes. Do you ever find that method means that when you get to the nitty-gritty, that it wants to evolve in a different direction, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I like about it, because you put it all out, like you lay it all out, like the plans and stuff. Then you write it through, and sometimes when I build it as well, technical problems can arise as well. And I just actually like rolling with the punches and sort of having that space where I can improvise and expand upon it. Yeah, but it does sometimes lead to things taking too long. Yeah, because I'm too loose in my planning. Yeah. James?
Have you had any play testing to see how easy it is for people to follow and stuff, or are you gonna have it?
Yes, I've had some playtesting, and I think the people who have tried it so far are very experienced players, and that was interesting to hear what they had to say. But it would be, I think we have enough experience from our previous games and all the feedback we got to understand like what people struggle with, because like on our Discord we keep getting the same exact questions over and over, so we even have automated responses for those specific questions, because it's like, so we've learned from that experience, I think. And now I'm basically thinking like, I'm not the enemy of the players, like I'm trying to make sure that they have a good time. So yes, yes, James.
For those questions, have you patched the previous games to try to remove those issues which they're asking about?
We have, and it has seemed to help in some cases, but we haven't been able to. We might go back and put some more work in again, but it's just we're a small team and we just never have the time to do everything we want to. Yeah. But yeah, we're further down the line, like we're inching closer to release, hopefully within like 2 or 3 months. So playtesting in the house, maybe. Yeah. James.
Someone from chat is asking about the company/game. Can you just show the first slide?
Yeah, sure.
So,
here we go.
name @none.
Exactly. And all the art here is basically, I mean, it's a text adventure, but these are like the background images you get as you explore the world, sort of. So, yeah, you can see the contrast here. These are like from the new game, so it's a desert setting, and here you have a more traditional fantasy environment, maybe. All right, is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Up next, FMOD Shenanigans for Broken Alliance. Give it up for Brian.
Hello. Let's do this. I'm going to load up Parsec because I'm going to connect to my computer because I'm going to run an FMOD session for Broken Alliance in real time. It's going to switch display and then switch back again because it's a weird bug, I think. Yeah. So recently we made the decision to move all of the audio for Broken Alliance, our pixel art strategy game in the vein of Heroes of Might and Magic, over to FMOD rather than using Unity's built-in audio. We were going to do music in FMOD the whole time, but we decided to move all audio to that as well, so I thought I'd share a bit of a session. Let's see if it's playing. Yeah, so at the moment we have different ambiences in the game. Not in the game yet, but I've designed ambiences for the 4 different factions, Phobos, Paradise, Forge, and Anchorage. And you have an isometric view of the adventure map, and in theory what will happen is your camera will focus on an area and it will play an ambience belonging to that area. So I've set it up that you can transition from different ambiences such as Anchorage using parameters. Up in the top right here, it will transition. The cursor stays in Anchorage and then it will shift to Forge, I think. So you see the cursor kind of moving along. It should crossfade neatly between those things. I'm trying to think, is there anything visible? Yeah, so those will all play on the adventure map, and I'll just switch here and I'll switch to something else in a second. Let's open a new event. I also will share some of Adam Bow's music as well, because he's got some events. We're working within the same project. He's got some events for adventure map / town music for the different factions, and also battle music. So let's play some music for that. I'll open the mixer. So we've got, this is the town music for when you're building your town up throughout the game. Let's go. Is that not working? Ah, okay. So he set up transitions as well to seamlessly transition between adventure map and town screen. This blue bar here is just the looping points where it will, after playing it initially for the first time, will endlessly loop within the segment. We also have battle music that has different things. So this is Anchorage. battle music again. Actually, let's put something different on. Let's put Phobos on. That's cool. It's a bit more of a Danny Elfman sounding kind of horror faction. So there is a higher. Maybe it's the parsec stuff is just. I transitioned to a defeat theme. Oh wait, maybe did it go to? I think it went to victory instead because I was too slow moving it. Let's go back. So he seamlessly transitions to defeat themes, which will then loop. And to defeat. So yeah, this is just some simple enough. It might not seem it with all of the markers in here. These are all markers at different intervals throughout the track so that when it reaches those markers and certain conditions have been met, it will automatically move to the other part of the track, the defeat or victory theme. Anyways, I've only got about a minute left. So other things that I've been doing, I've set up things like resource jingles. We have different types of events in FMOD, like command events, which can trigger other events upon triggering a single event. So this is a sequence of like reward feedback for when you pick up items on the adventure map. And I've set this up here that it will actually, I should do it with this. I will play this. I've set it up so that it dips the music temporarily and brings it back up again. So that's what these two purple events are. Start a dip in the music and the ambience and then bring it back once the resource effect is done. I've also set it up so those events are also referenced by picking up gold. So it will play the feedback jingle along with the resource you pick up. So you can nest things within events and create very complex behaviors. Again, I can dip music by playing kind of "You Failed at Combat." That's an old sound. Adam has since kind of built a defeat thing. Apart from that, I've just been setting up just mostly stuff like that at the moment. It's been a number of years since I've used FMOD, and I haven't mostly used it for music-based stuff, but so I'm getting to grips with a lot of different types of events and things that you can create in FMOD. The biggest advantage of me using FMOD is that I can do a lot of design myself within FMOD and not have to bother the programmers as much. As long as they have it referenced within Unity, I can update things as much as I want, and I don't have to ask them to do it for me, and I can really play around with the finesse. Has anybody got any questions about any of this? Yep, Josh?
What was one of the motivations for abandoning Unity's input system and going to FMOD?
I am not entirely sure. I mean, I've kind of earlier part of my audio career, I was always like pushing people to use FMOD. Come on, use FMOD because it's really cool. But I've just gotten used to people just saying, yeah, we're just going to use Unity sound. We're not going to deal with that. So I was just pleasantly surprised when Shen, our programmer, was like, we're moving everything to FMOD. I was like, oh shit, I don't know how to use this anymore. But I'll learn. I think it's just giving me, maybe it's also to stop me from annoying them. Every few minutes about, can you reduce the volume of this to half? Can you do this when I can just do it all myself? It's just, we're already paying, I think, for FMOD integration anyway, so why not use FMOD for sound effects as well as music? So, yeah. James?
I have an answer from Oak here as well. It's because we needed to have adapted audio in-game. Unity just doesn't have anything out of the box.
Yeah.
Less annoying stuff and just a bonus.
Yeah, you can just, I think, as James said, Oak, our tech and the lead of that game, basically said Unity's system is not robust enough to do a lot of adaptive stuff out of the box, which is true. You can do things, but it just takes a massive amount of work around. And why would you do that when there are systems built for this kind of thing? Was there anything? Matej?
Now that you have it so easy to just edit everything in FMOD, how often do you then go into the game and actually see and test it in gameplay?
Usually if I feel, if Shen, our programmer, has informed me that he's kind of like made sure all of the references from FMOD are matching up with, if I built anything new events that haven't been in there before and they've been connected up, I try and update to the latest builds. and run that, because the good thing about FMOD is they have a live update function in the bottom here, where you can run live update, have the FMOD session open, and run the Unity in editor, and trigger your events, and you live mix things while the build is running. They also have a great function called the profiler as well, where you can record stuff from Unity. Things maybe you have a very difficult to trigger kind of action within your game. And maybe it only happens once, and you don't want to have to run it for 15-20 minutes and then like I've lost the opportunity to mix it. You can capture that, and it will capture that, and kind of you can update it and keep playing it back. Yeah, so Matt?
I noticed that a lot of your sound effects are sort of musical. Do you have any considerations for like how these musical sound effects like mix with the background music?
I mean, I'm very well. At least before FMOD was integrated, we had a bunch of musical feedback sounds happening over the top of adventure map music that was too loud, and it triggered me and made me cringe every time. Mostly because it was just a chaotic kind of overlapping of things, and I mean, I try and keep things within the reasonable same key of music as the things are. But what I'm doing with the dipping the music into the background and maybe even EQing a lot of the high-end frequency out of it is that I'm kind of like pulling the attention away from the background music while those musical effects play. So it's much more nuanced and pleasant to the ear, because a lot of games will just dip certain less priority things in favor of priority feedback sounds. So that's how I'm kind of getting around that. If there are any specific examples where there is a real clash, then I will probably revisit the sound effects that I've made rather than Adam necessarily revisiting the long music tracks he's made. I feel like it's a quicker thing for me to fix something or adjust something than him, potentially. Yeah. Anything else before? Okay, thank you. Just gonna close out a parsec now. Disconnect from my computer. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Up next, it's time to show off, and we're gonna get to see some Dice Gambit. Give it up for Josh.
And Nikos. If you want to join, you're more than welcome to. But you're also welcome to hide.
We'll just stand in the background, I think.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You hide behind the curtains. Yes, so this is again motivated by James to kind of try and show off the game. So this is our latest build. It's actually quite old, like a month old or something like that. But we haven't done much in a while. And figured I'd show some of the game and just kind of like what we were up to. So this is Dice Gambit. It's a tactics game. So for the people who like XCOM, Darkest Dungeon, those type of games, it's hopefully for you. And if not, that sucks. I will try to make it for you. Yeah, I'll actually just run you through a little bit at the start. The game starts with an introduction with some lore, which I'll totally skip. And then a mysterious exploration sequence. It's a dice-based game, so everything is centered around a dice. So we have a lovely dice that you will roll, and each dice icon represents both an action you can do, but also a faction in the game. So you get this little interactive sequence that I immediately broke.
Yeah.
There we go. And that allows you to read a little bit up about the game before creating a faction or family of your own. So a big conceit of the game is that you make your own character, which will be the head of a noble family that will kind of like be sent out to a mission as inquisitors to defeat all the chromatic, which are the enemies of the game. Yeah, we've created a like 2D character creator where you can mix and match your look and how your character might look. There are a bunch of different assets, and this is something we hope to expand on later. I will not like spend too much time here. I think the cool part of it is that they can have different moods or different personalities that trigger in the game, and that change how the character will react to different events, which I don't know, it's just kind of fun and charming. At the same time, you get to customize your dice and how your dice might need to look for it to be very cool. Yeah, I'll speed run it like this. You probably cringe now for the like worst character customization.
It's okay. I've made sure that like you can't make them too ugly. Like I have some dignity as an artist.
Then the game starts in some kind of sequence where you are crash driven on a car to the main city of the game, or not a car, a chariot, or something in between.
Cart.
With a little bit of dialogue with one of the characters, Stechi, who will be kind of like your introductory character that will teach you about the game and give you a lot of very interesting lore that I will skip in order for this to kind of be done in 5 minutes. Yes, so this is what the game looks like. It's again, it's a tactics game where you control knights to fight and combat. We call it Neo-Renaissance, so it's a mix of Renaissance aesthetics, but like modern day technology and things such as cars. And it's all centered around taking and rolling dice. So each of your dice are...
Alright, you get a tutorial.
We get the tutorial. I'll actually skip the tutorial. I'm a god gamer like that.
How would you know?
Each of the dice correspond to a basic action you can do. So for instance, I can move by spending the move dice, just like a board game. Or I can use the signature dice to do a signature action, which is different for each of my characters. So I can like dash with this character to deal some damage. And then I might use the shield dice to block and gain some armor. So hopefully that seems fairly intuitive. And then when I'm out of stuff to do, I will end my turn and the enemies will take their turn. And as you can see, we have a huge timeline on the side with like all the enemy suicides, so it's very easy the first mission, but that actually sucked.
Yeah, we don't get another mission. Oh, I guess
we'll get another. I'll make sure we get another mission.
Yeah.
In between missions, you'll be in these expeditions where your characters will kind of traverse on a little, like very Slay the Spire kind of ish map where you are gathering resources to upgrade back at your estate, which we'll get to. And you're all bound by some kind of energy of how far you can move. And this is the tutorial one, so there's not a lot of choice, but the later ones will actually give you choice, I promise. Usually you also have more characters. This is like the introduction area. You work with a single character, and we try to keep it very easy because there's a little bit of a learning curve. But yeah, that's a big part of the loop of the game. One of the cool things that is like very core to it is how, since you're rolling these dice, you have to think a lot about how to spend your turn. It's like a puzzle every turn. You get 5 actions, but you have to figure out how to use them the best. And there's all these basic actions, but there are also special abilities that the characters can do, which cost a combination of dice. So there's a lot of like texture in each turn where you try to figure out how do I spend my turn the best. I compared a lot to card, like Slay the Spire and other like kind of like card game kind of like logic, where you draw a hand of cards and then you figure out how to spend them the best first, and we do it with dice instead. And of course, randomness sometimes suck. Sometimes you don't get what you want. In this case, I might want to use an ability instead of an attack. So you can always re-roll any number of your dice for a certain amount of times each turn. And with that, again, it adds more texture. And sometimes you'll be unlucky and roll the exact same thing because it is a dice game after all.
Oh, you got a crit.
A critical attack. Whoa. Is there something you guys might want to add? You think I'm missing?
We're past 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We're past 5 minutes?
Yeah, that little bell, that was not someone's fault.
That was actually it then. This is Dice Gambit.
He dodged. Wow.
Whoa. Yeah, that's our game. Any questions while I round this off? You guys can take the question.
So, how long have you been working on it, and with how many people?
So we worked on Dice Gambit for 4 years. This is like, I call it my Corona baby. When Corona happened and I was like left alone. And at the peak we were 6 people working on the project. Now we are the 3 of us.
At some point we
had
were 2.
we had a publisher and the industry when there's ups and downs. So we're very happy to be here. And what we are planning on doing is we're planning on finishing the game within the next 6 months, or in 6 months' time. It's very close to being done. So what we want is a lot of feedback and to learn all the things we suck at, so we can make the game good and do something good out of it from there.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
What are the things you want to improve on for the next 6 months?
Sorry?
What are the things you want to improve on for the next 6 months?
I think that's a good question. So, like, we had to rescope the game drastically, like half a year ago, because we lost a publisher essentially. And in that, we found a lot of tighter version of the game that we liked, but we didn't quite have time to finish it. So I think for us, it's a lot of polishing and like content population, like a few more bosses maybe, like set piece fights and more customization. And then I think we're very open to it. Like we want to kind of go in and just get feedback and like really get people to tell us like, combat is too samey, or combat is too complicated, or the progression is too boring, and from there kind of like make a plan. Like we really don't have like a set in stone what the next 6 months are, other than we just want to be like listen as much as possible and figure it out from there.
Is there a demo or something of the game I could play and give feedback on?
Soon.
Yes.
TM.
we have a build that is completely playable, and once we set up Office Monday next week, I want to begin playtesting. So yes, James will help with that.
We
So
will have very directed playtesting sessions up until the demo comes out. So few people will be selected.
but yes, we also have a Discord server that we are horrible at engaging with, but one day we will learn, and the more people who pressure us to learn to do it, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up next, Outlaw Kingdom. Give it up for Kasper.
It's also just pretty much to show what I'm actually doing. So, alright, loading. So what is Outlaw Kingdom? It is an auto-battle strategy roguelike game. The current demo is not roguelike, but hopefully we'll get there, and I will show the old build. If it is here somewhere. There it is. So the old build, I pretty much used an asset pack called Cindy Studio. I think pretty much most people here know what that is. Alright. And the old one, you had to choose your commander, but it is very, very simple. Oh, actually, kind of want to prove a point with the current archer, so I'm going to go back. So, this is the camp where you can upgrade your stuff, but can't do anything right now. So we can go to the overworld, and the overworld is very limited right now. But we can choose to attack someone, where we can see who we're attacking and how the map looks. So, and we can pick who we are taking with us. Now we will now enter the combat phase, or the planning phase. You can see the enemy, you can see where they're going, and you can now place your little ambush. And if you place them in a bush, the icon will hide. And you can now have different attack groups you can place them in. When you're ready, you press attack, and they will now start moving. We can go a little further up, and we can now make the archer shoot. So right now the archer is actually shooting physics objects, which means most of the time they'll actually miss. It was quite frustrating. Oh yeah, you can shoot your own units as well. So that is. So I think it was very cool, but a lot of people did not think it was cool. So we can just go into the camp, and I probably used. Let's see, is the cheat still here? Yes, it is. I forgot to turn that off. and I'll just buy a bunch of upgrades to like show some of that. So I made a lot. Actually, I used probably way too much time, just like building different set pieces. So like when you click, it zooms in, where I probably shouldn't have used that much time playing around with the different set pieces. He'll be fine. And like you can also upgrade and like buy specific upgrades, and you can go in and recruit the different units. So right now, I'll call it the units is kind of, I'll call it simple. They have one thing they do, and that's kind of it. So, go back to the presentation. And now for the all-out. So, publisher with James, that means I got the opportunity to hire an artist, and he's sitting somewhere down there, Xavier. And we finished the Warband and the Cultist. Yeah, and now to show the new one, at least what is working so far. Don't mind the FPS and everything else. So the new idea is that each unit now have abilities and passive to make it a little more interesting. Let's just try and play something. And also I wanted like the goblins. This is like a side project, a side problem with the goblins. I wanted them to be a very trash unit, so now when you actually place one, you place 3 instead. But that increased performance quite a lot, so that's not a problem we have run into. Let's just take the ones that actually has art. And right now the units balance is all over the place, and I actually think there should be sound on some of them. Yeah, some of them. So yeah, that's pretty much it as it right now, and like I'm trying to figure out what type of UI I should make, and also like hold down so you can get the full information. I'm not really sure if you need all that information or not. But yeah, back to presentation, questions.
Will you be able to add clothes to your units?
Clothes?
Like on the upper body?
Maybe. Brian?
Will I don't know if it was an ogre or a very big orc with the big club, will they be able to do like damage to multiple enemies at the same time, like knock a whole bunch of them?
Yeah, actually doing that right now.
Will the player and the like enemy AI that you're fighting against, will they use the same units?
No, they will have their like I call it kingdom units. You will be ambushing like the first one, but I'm not there yet. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Kasper. Up next, we get a bedtime story. This one time I played D&D. Give it up for Max.
So this might not work because I'm trying to use Google Drive for the presentation. But yeah, basically I have 3 SGDCs yet left, so I'm going to visit you all like the ghosts of Christmas past, present and future. So let's look at the past. This is basically what I was doing right before coming to Spelkollektivet. I was playing D&D with my friends. We were playing online for a bit, we did stuff like Curse of Strahd, and I wanted to run the Lost Mines of Fandover, which is the most simple starter set that 5th edition has. It'd be a quick couple of sessions, should be great fun. So I made assets for every NPC and monster in the game before the first session. We've got all your friends like Mosk and Nundro, and yeah, and then from there, even the main villain, we've got the Black Spider, who's quite infamous for being very weak. So I wanted to buff him up a bit and made him a Drider. So he has a secret 2nd form, and of course a secret 3rd form, the Spow. But yeah, this is our party. So we have the Vidalcan Artificer, Eblin Zliadelos, John Smith, the Human Bard, Puck, the Fairy Barbarian, Todd, the Tortle Cleric, and Torek, the dwarf cleric. So yeah, we started the game with our party, and immediately Todd dies. We're gonna miss him, and then his player then plays as Zeep, this owl folk. Puck also dies pretty quickly in like the second session. So then that player plays as this warlock, Goliath Toggle, who's a pacifist. And within the same session, the player's like, "Oh, this isn't fun to play at all." So Toggle leaves us, and we get a goblin named X, who's this little blue guy, and he's a magic boy. And then at this point, it's clear the spirit of the adventure is quite sandboxy, so I'm like, okay, let's get more quests. So I incorporate the essentially expansion to Lost Mines, the Dragon of Our Ice by a Peak, which means I need to make more assets. So we have a barrel crab, we've got a bunch of gnomes, we've got this, gelatinous cube, an orc with a farmer's hat, the womanticore. Then Zeep and X are in a cave, and they decide to huff this crushed up skull, which kills Zeep, and X just leaves us. So yeah, then Zeep's player is now playing as Glar, this barbarian, and then they finally meet the Black Spider, who is now buffed, and nearly kills everyone, and he escapes. So now the campaign, which should have been over by now, has to continue. So, let's keep going. So I need to make more guys to keep the thing going. So this is where the Black Spider went. He's met up with all these people somewhere deep in the Underdark. And the party needs... never ends up seeing any of those characters. They don't go there. So they do go into these fungal tunnels where there's a bunch of kobolds and mushrooms, and at one point they decided the mushrooms look like anime girls. And a Medusa petrifies Glar, which is very sad. So then that player needs a new character, a kobold named Sir Franz Edward Ferdinand Archibald the Great. And then that kobold saves the barbarian, so the player saves himself, and now he has two characters. Sure. Then we have a side quest with a bunch of dwarves where everyone's playing a different character. I don't even know why that happened. Then everyone goes to a fancy party and they wear masks. Then there's a were-rat conspiracy where there's a whole bunch of were-rats. Then everyone gets trapped inside a fresco and they're 2D for a bit, and they fight Donkey Kong. Then where's the next one? There should be more folders. Then they get enslaved by orcs. And then a new player joins us and plays as a new character named Umaz, who is an orc. Here he is. He's a sad boy. So I need a bunch more assets for them fighting orcs. And then they finally go into the Underdark to fight the Black Spider. So I need a bunch more monsters in the Underdark. And this is where things get off the fucking rails. So, there's this magical fog in the Underdark called Phasris, which in this campaign I had a wild magic table of random effects that could happen whenever a spell is cast. So immediately the wild magic turns John Smith into Jane Doe, and we support her transition. Then the Phasris sends everyone back in time and splits the party up across the entire fucking continent. So Torek returns to his hometown, and he meets the Pope and his dad. Jane gets trapped on a mountain, and she meets a bunch of fish people. She also dies and becomes John Smith again, because that's how polymorph works. And Umaz is trapped in the Underdark, where he meets the most horrifying creatures imaginable. I like this guy the most. And yeah, then Umaz, they're now back in time, spread across the past, and he finds the Black Spider before the Black Spider's even begun the original adventure. So he just shoots him immediately and kills the main bad guy in one turn. But then the Black Spider's goons all kill Umaz, which is very sad. But the rest of the party reunites, okay. Umaz's player decides to play as a magical Sailor Moon anime girl. We go inside of Eblin's mind, which looks like this. Torek meets God. We enter John's dream, which is a puppet show. Then it turned out that they started the Frog Apocalypse. So they go into space. They find Eblin's family, and everyone in his dimension looks like NFTs. And then I decide, to cap it off, I'll run a 100-room dungeon, which is the Doom Vault, which is bigger than anything I've ever run before. So then, naturally, it needs a bunch of art assets. But yeah, by now I'm at Spelkollektivet. Glar, Todd, Zeef, and Sir Franz's player decides to play as Cor von Wisebridge, a new halfling. They fight the final bad guys of the dungeon, and that is the Lost Mines of Phandelver. It's pretty good. Yeah, any questions? Jay.
Can you go back to the very first collection of pictures and then scroll down slowly? Because I think I saw something and I have questions.
The horse?
There it is.
Yeah, that's like the catalyst of the entire adventure. Is you find that dead horse, you're like, oh, what's this in the middle of the road? James.
So how many sessions did it not take?
I think this is just over a year of pretty much weekly. Yeah, James.
Have you been making these folders over time, or did you actually sit down and make all this folders and shit for today?
Oh, I did that today after we had dinner, and everyone talked about how crazy Dani's presentation was. It's like, I can be a psychopath too. Tintin.
The dead horse, did anyone beat it?
The dead horse was just dead. The goblins beat it. They killed it before the adventure began. Marika.
So, how long did you had to draw all this stuff? Why did you have to draw all this stuff? Just for fun?
It was because like I'd never. So how long did it take to draw it? Just like on and off over that year. Why did I draw it? Mostly because I'd never done a Roll20 campaign before, and because I was scoping small, I was like, I can quickly make all the assets for this tiny adventure. So that's why I did it, and then the precedent was met. Nina.
How did you, like, did you have all the pictures up while you played of the different characters?
Yeah, so we used a virtual tabletop called Roll20, and then these are just the icons for all the monsters and players and NPCs. Marika.
How did you come up with all these different, like, had you an art direction for yourself, or did you just like, description, scribble, done? This is so much.
Jay.
Are you gonna write down the entire story in book format, and when are you gonna sell it?
I'd probably make a YouTube video. What's your name again?
Neil.
Neil, yeah, sorry.
So if I ever run Minds of Pandaria as well, could I use your assets somehow?
Yeah, sure, just hit me up.
Okay.
Brian.
Max, you are a mad bastard. Wait, that's feedback. Are you a mad bastard?
I have not been diagnosed.
Okay.
Matt.
How did you come up with this folder going deeper and deeper folder?
Because I was sick of, because I tried making the PowerPoint and it was hard. It like crashed immediately when I tried to put 90 PNGs on one slide.
No shit.
Alright, yeah, alright, bye everyone. See you all next week.
Thank you, Max. Alright, up next we get Writer's Choice, 3 question marks. Give it up for Martin.
Yo guys, hey. What up, chat? Let me just unpack this. So, in lieu of today, since it's such a special day, we thought we might as well just show you the game we've been working on. Reintroduce it for people that haven't seen it before.
Windows button.
Just this. Yeah. All right.
Huh. Spoiler.
Is it working?
Sign it.
No. Yeah, you didn't see anything. All right. Hopefully the sound works. Does it work? Okay. All right. So, yeah. This is the game. This is the start of the game. Oh yeah. So, what is this? What is this? Oh. Is this the name? Is this the name that we've been working on for months? Syntax E. That's it. That's the name. So. What is that? Alright, so start the game. Now I would love to turn up the volume some more. Okay, alright. Maybe some more? A little bit? That's max? Oh shit, okay. Alright, so you start as you wake from a nap and you decide to go outside. And you try twisting the handle, but the door doesn't open. A chill runs down your spine. So you press space to open your laptop, and there you got a bunch of text that describes your surroundings. Eerily, very similar to where you are. So you decide to try and leave, but you can't. And this is the start of the game. So it's basically, the idea is, got very much inspired by escape rooms. What you gotta do is just try and escape. The idea is to give the player freedom to find a solution of their own. There's multiple ways to leave the room. So you can just try interacting with objects and see what happens. The idea is that every object has its own unique interaction, and you try and search stuff full of useful things. You dart over the things on the shelf and you notice a screwdriver. Would you like to take it? Yes. And you take the screwdriver. Now, what do you do with it? So, the game takes primarily place in two perspectives. The perspective of the game itself, and then the perspective of the laptop. In here you'll do most of the stuff, like game stuff, like the settings, setting up all the other kind of stuff. Most of the UI and informations will be presented in the laptop that you have. And for this, you also solve the puzzles. So instead of, unlike a normal escape room, other than the fact that there's multiple ways to escape, there's also a system of changing things, right? So you got these words, these highlighted words, right? And as it describes your surroundings, you can try changing it, right? You can change the lonely night to a bright night. And now it's a little bit brighter in the room. What does that mean? Well, it might be important for some puzzles. Maybe you need to light someplace up that you can't see. Also, you got stuff like, provided a standard issue, most bedrooms is a comfortable sofa, right? And if you run around a bit, here's the sofa, right? But there's really nothing in it or on it. Also, as you can see, the world loops around itself. It's a perspective. You could imagine facing a wall and then going around and come back in the loop. So you can change it. And you can change it to some other stuff. A pile of rocks. And it's right there. You can change it to something else. For a toilet. Dirty toilet. There's something inside of it. Would you like to reach into the dirty toilet?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I could try. A rather small bottle of the toilet, you managed to retrieve a grimy valve, right? So, since there is a key, and if you read the text, also a lot of the stories presented in this text, you can see, okay, extra keys are put inside of metal safes. There's no metal safes, but there is these other stuff. And also, if we change this to bright, and look at the bed, we notice, in the starry reflection of the sky, we notice something under the bed. Would you like to reach it? Put transition, and we find a phone. And as we saw, we put keys into rotary telephones. If we change this, now the reality changes, and we can see there is something in the phone. And if we take it apart with the screwdriver we got, we find a key. And with this key, we can leave. Now this is the second part of the game, and this is where more of the atmosphere kicks in. So as you can notice, sound design is a very important part of the game, where every object gives off a sound. Kind of hard to hear on the TV, but it's there. We'd rather not go into the dark. In the future, we plan a sanity system where we would let you go to the dark at your own peril. So there's more text that you get. Every now and then you get more text to help you solve stuff. And you can change, for example, plumbing to wall hydrants. And you can check the wall hydrants. So sometimes you find things you don't want to find. You find a key. Again, there's multiple ways to leave this, but we're gonna show you one of the ways to escape. So since we want to try to reach that door and it's too dark, we gotta find a flashlight. If we go to the bathroom.
I don't think you need to spoil the whole game. And also time's up for a while.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
Any last comments?
Good point.
Questions?
If you guys want to play the game, you can play the demo on our itch. If you type in Writer's Choice itch, which is our previous name, you can find a demo that is similar to this, and you can find your own solution to it. And yeah, soon, Steam page soon. And yeah, thank you for your time. Matej?
What are the biggest changes from the Game Jam version to what you have right now? Is there more content?
There's gonna be a lot more content, and honestly, this whole area right now is gonna be revised. The puzzles, we want to move them around a bit, so it's not completely the same. And yeah, there's also going to be, like I mentioned, the sanity system. It's gonna play a big role in it. Then there's also going to be another system for internal dialogue. Kind of, you guys played Disco Elysium. You could hear there were things talking to you, like inner voices that can guide you and help you throughout the game. And that is one of the ways we want to solve the puzzles being too difficult. And if they are, you can consult your intelligence, and it will tell you what you shouldn't do. So yeah, that's a couple different things, mechanics we want.
You triggered the Disco Elysium developer in chat.
Oh shit. Yes?
With this internal voice, do you think the sanity meter will play into how that interacts with you? Or is that...
Yes.
Do you think it's generally going to be a reliable help kind of thing?
That's actually a good point. For the most part, you can rely on them, but there are definitely times where you can't always rely on your senses, or maybe you should rely on a specific sense. All right? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. There's more stuff that's happening here, but you don't get to see this because you're not here. We'll have champagne and sign stuff. Woo! We'll be back again next week. Until then, if you have money to throw at us, we got Patreon. Give us money if you want. Yeah, same time next week. See more progress of people in the house. Until then, bye.
Bye. Bye.